Okay, so welcome everybody to the Green Skills for Cities Green Innovation Challenge. Thank you very much all for joining today. My name is Katia Perini. I'm from the University of Genova. And I would kindly ask Margherita to move on to the next slide. So this is the agenda for today. So this is what we're going to talk about. We'll start with a short introduction to the Green Skills for Cities project, which is an Erasmus project. Then we will present a Green Innovation Challenge, which is a program implemented within the Green Skills for Cities project. And we will have 4 students pitching and presenting their innovative ideas on this. Then we will ask your involvement for both question and answers, and then also for voting, which are your favorite ideas presented by the students. We will then move on to the presentation of free MBS research project. And again, we will ask your participation for a question and answer session, and also for voting which research project you will like most. And then we will conclude with final discussion and conclusions. And then we will ask you to give your feedback on the event and on what was done today. If you could please move on. Okay, so Green Skills for Cities is a project co-funded by the Erasmus Plus program of the European Union. And you see here the list of the partners and also the different fields which are involved in this project. So the partners are the BU, AIAC from Barcelona, the University of Genova, so us, and ALDA, which is the European Association for Local Democracy. And the main fields involved in this project are the economy, design, and also botany and technology, which is represented by the University of Genova, and which is the main, let's say, topic of the event of today. If you could please move on. Okay. So before we start, we went deep into the different presentations. I would just like to say a couple of words about this Green Skills for Cities project. So it included a long-term program, which was actually implemented within different courses at the different universities involved in the project. We had a short-term program, and we're going to present today the results of this short-term program, a webinar series among this one that we are actually attending today, and a symposium. We're having a symposium on the 24th of November here in Genova. Okay, so we will offer you the opportunity, as I was saying before, to know what was done within the short-term program, and also to vote and to be involved in the discussion regarding the ideas which were developed by the students. If you can move on, please. Okay, so before giving the word to Margherita, I would really like to thank, first of all, her, so Margherita Pungiglione and Erika Rocotiallo, for organizing this event, together with all the project partners that I mentioned before. And I will now give her the word so that she can start presenting more specifically the Green Innovation Challenge. Thank you, Margherita.
Thank you, Katia, for introducing me. And let me just share my presentation again. Okay. Again, I would like also to thank all the partners involved in the project, and also the Ordine degli Architetti di Genova to giving the patrocinio to this event, and so giving professional credits to this. As I wrote in the chat, please, all members of the Ordine degli Architetti di Genova, please write down your name, surname, and codice fiscale, and the number of your personal ID as an architect. So we need that to register your credits. So let's talk now about the Green Innovation Challenge. This was a program that lasted 1 week and took place in September in 3 different institutions, the partner institutions of the project, so Genoa, Barcelona, and Vienna. All students were basically PhD students and master graduate students, and they all had to work together on the same site, which is Plaza de la Glorias in Barcelona, which is in the city center of the city. And this site currently hosts a public park, which is pretty large. It is about 40,000 square meters and was completed in 2019. And all students had to develop a new NBS project. NBS means nature-based solutions. We are talking about it a lot today. It's everything that is sort of inspired by nature and takes examples from nature to address specific climate change related challenges. So all students had to design a new nature-based solution to address site-specific and Barcelona-specific challenges, including extreme weather conditions and water management issues. All students had to work together on the same site and working on an NBS project, but also we wanted them to experience a cross-disciplinary and transdisciplinary design approach. So we combined students from different disciplines and had mixed groups in order to have them working with people from different backgrounds. For example, the students from Genoa, which come from a botany and technology background, they had to work also with students from Vienna, which have a business and economics background, and also with students from the IAC in Barcelona, who have a design background. And so they had to work in pairs and in group with students from other universities with the overall goal to develop a nature-based solution project in that project site, but they also had discipline-specific goals, which means that the students from Genoa had to focus more on the innovation aspect. So that means that they had to design something that was truly novel and innovative and could be also theoretically be patented. The students from Barcelona had to focus more on the master plan level and to create a stakeholder analysis that was informing the design process also for their partners. And the students from Vienna had to develop a business plan, so to make the project sound also from an economic perspective. So now I'm leaving the ground to the students who are going to present their projects, but I would like also to you to know that these projects were developed in just 1 week, so it's a very tight time schedule, but still the results are very impressive. And but we don't want you to focus on the final result, but on the process that they experience, which is a transdisciplinary project and also something that is really regarding the nature-based solutions. So now the first group presenting is group Giving Nature a Voice. That was formed by 6 students from IAC, VU and Unige. Today, Marta Pianta from Unige is pitching. She will use the pitching technique, which means that she will present her project in just 3 minutes, and so summarizing it very well. And then I'm going to ask all the audience to ask questions for more details. So now Marta should be here. I'm stop presenting and she should be presenting.
Okay, so good afternoon. I try to share my screen. Okay, let me know if you can see it.
Not yet.
Okay, I think that.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, it works. Please, Marta,
Perfect.
the floor is yours.
Thank you. So, this aerial view of Barcelona clearly shows that humans and nature are more and more distant. The world population is constantly increasing and modern cities are becoming denser. In this context, nature spaces are rare, and the humans feel the need to reconnect with nature. Today, with our project, we are proposing you a new way to give a voice to the plants in city parks, starting from the Parc de las Glorias in Barcelona. Our intention is to reconnect humans and nature through a new technology that translates the lymphatic flow of plants into music. This technology becomes source of multiple benefits and offers a lot of values in different interconnected aspects. Social, by improving people's psychophysical
Marta, sorry, we missed your presentation and we can hear you. Could you please restart and open your microphone?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, could you please
I don't know
go
if
back
there
one
are
slide?
Okay, I don't know if there are some problems with my connection.
Think so.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
So from here?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. Okay, so our intention is to reconnect humans and nature through a new technology that translates the lymphatic flow of plants into music. This technology becomes source of multiple benefits and offer a lot of values in different interconnected aspects. Social, by improving people's psychophysical well-being and raising awareness of the ecological heritage. Economic, since the structure is easy and cheap to implement, can be installed by local business and can attract tourists. And environmental, since the technology is also an indicator of plant health. In more detail, our innovation consists of a small sensor inserted into the lymph vessels of herbs, shrubs, and trees, able to produce human perceptible sound frequencies depending on the flow intensity and on the chemical properties of the lymph. This means that the sound is modulated not only in relation to the season and the time of the day, but also according to the health and the needs of the plants. This tool can thus generate harmony between plants and the humans, including experts who can easily receive signals when it is time to act with management treatments. Moreover, the data collected by the sensor allow for more efficient use of resources, in particular water and nutrients. The final installation will appear as an integrated system consisting of 4 different types of triangular modules, starting from the biggest, that is the plant pot, able to contain enough soil to support the plants connected to the sensor. The other module types are the container holding the technological devices and the speakers that generate the sound, the texture surfaces able to host lichens and mosses, and last but not the least, the insect hotels where insects attracted by plants can find shelters. In fact, along with improving human health, the other aim of our project is to favor the local biodiversity using native plant species that can interact with the local fauna, thus promoting multi-trophic interaction and therefore ecological functions. Here, how the configuration of the final installation might look, with people surrounded by this set of sound and multifunctional modules. As ideas often rise with the people behind them, let me assure you that we have the right people to make this project a success. We are experts coming from different areas that are all crucial to our idea: botany and technology, design, and business. Therefore, help us to give nature a voice, and thank you for your time and for your attention.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for Marta, for the nice presentation of your team. We can open the discussion for questions. If you have any questions, please raise your hand, open your microphone and start asking. Maybe I start just to break the ice. You show different type of sensors, but it's not clear to me what are the difference with respect to traditional sensor to assess the lymph flow in plants. If I catch the meaning of what you have shown. Could you please clarify this point?
Yeah, sure. Thank you for your attention. Maybe I can take again the slide that I show. So the difference lies in the fact that the traditional sensors translate the information usually into graph. So they return a visual response. And in our case, the response is a sound, so that we can get two different type of benefits from this sensor, because on one end, there is an environmental benefit, because through this sound we can get information about the health of the plants, and also we can get a benefit for humans, since sorry, they knock on the door, and because in this way this sound can relax people that get in touch with the plants.
Okay, thanks. And healthiness of plants in terms of, for instance, nutrient amount in the body mass and things like that?
Yes, right. Yes, because these sensors are able to get information about the chemical properties of the lymph.
Okay, thank you very much. Maybe there are some other questions from the audience. Any curiosity, please don't be shy and feel free to ask even more general questions. And
maybe we can also say that questions can also come in Italian, and then we will translate.
Yeah, sure. You can also ask in Italian, and then we can translate if you wish.
Potete fare anche delle domande in italiano, se volete, traduciamo per voi.
Okay, while people start thinking about it, also in Italian, maybe I can have another question. I'm noisy, I know. So you speak about this modular structure. I have seen the shape, and can be this structure assembled in other shapes in other way. So is it modular? Can you describe it?
Yeah, sure, because this installation is just an example, because it is a set of modules with different functions that can be put together in different ways. So also with different shapes, also in relation to the function that we want to achieve. So for example, if we want to make a sort of barrier from a source of noise, we can assemble the modules in different ways in order to stop maybe the noise, and use the plants and the modules as a barrier. Or if we want to use this installation to create shade, we can assemble the modules in a different way that they can be functional to create an area of shade for people.
Okay, so it seems to be easily scalable, right?
Yeah.
Yes, Katia, please. You're muted.
Yeah, sorry. Thank you, Marta, for the interesting presentation. So I was wondering, which main obstacles do you see for the possible real implementation of this modular system, of this idea?
I think that there can be maybe some I don't know, but people can think that it can't be so useful as we think, that because maybe you can say, yeah, we are in cities, so there is a lot of noise, and it can be in some way hard to hear the the sound of the nature, but yeah, I know, in fact, this is one of the problems that we try to take into account, also maybe with a creation of a structure that can in some way isolate more from the external part of the city. Maybe, yeah, people can use this as a shelter after the frenetic life of the city. So maybe create a sort of refuge for people.
Thank you. If there are no any other questions, I think, Margherita, that we can move to the next group. Group 2 on sustainability is about now and the future.
Yeah, this is the next group. Okay. Sustainability is about now and the future. Again, 6 students. Today, Clara Conte from UNIGE is speaking. And thank you, Chiara, for presenting. I hope you are there, ready for presenting.
Yeah. Hello, everyone.
Okay.
Share my screen. Can you see the presentation?
Yeah.
Yes.
Great. Okay. Shall I start?
Yes, please.
Okay. Our project consists of a new idea of a nature-based solution as a hopping tool to be implemented in the El Parc de las Glorias in Barcelona. This site is called the Green Lang, with several connections from important nodes and streets. But there are several problems with this site that we want to address. We have come up with a nature-based solution to transform the abandoned site into an interactive zone where everyone can enjoy the greenery and contribute to the ecosystem, all at the same time. Design occurs on 3 different levels. The upper level is the interaction level for birds and other insects, and the soil level for humans and other animal species. The subsurface level for other microbial species, and design technology to improve it. The species chosen for the 3 different level intervention with herbaceous plants, shrubs, and trees with the multitrophic interaction that will be created. And a few interactive learning tools for kids, which also incorporate a bee home at the top. In the site, along with the green component, there will also be jumping mushroom, our idea of nature-based solution, to be integrating to promote soil health. Construction is a super simple 3-step process. Drill a hole, plug in the housing, mount the mushroom, and plant it. The role of these mushrooms is to oxidize the soil to create a more favorable habitat for living things. With jumping mushroom is to we collect real-time data on the soil to monitor its health with sensor systems. A number of short and long-term benefits related to the application of our nature-based solution, and some stakeholders who might be interested in funding our idea. So thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Clara, for sharing your group's presentation. Okay. Are there any questions? I may have one of general interest, that is, usually people focus on nature-based solution thinking about above ground design. Why focusing on below ground design, as you mentioned?
Yeah. Yes, it's the interesting point of our idea and our nature-based solution, because maybe no one or some of us know that in the underground we have a lot of microorganisms, microflora and macrofauna. I know that they are not interesting as a butterfly of birds or something like that, but they are useful because with their action in subsoil, we have an healthy plant. So if we improve their action, we have a wonderful tree and a wonderful herbaceous plant or flower or something like that. So it's an interesting part, because the problem of an urban soil or soil in general is that there is a low concentration of oxygen, and this oxygen is useful for have this kind of microorganism, and their activity is useful for plant growth and physiological processes of the plant, like nutrient uptake or water uptake, or even respiration action. So it is an important aspect for our well-being and even for the green space. And the other important thing is that if we have an healthy soil, we have a useful instrument for example, sequestration of CO2, for mitigate the water runoff, and promote the health of the plant, of course. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Any other question? Yes, Peter, please.
So thanks a lot for your presentation. Is it possible to show us the last slide and talk about the list of stakeholders which you created? Because it was so short,
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Okay, yeah, because this part is a part related of the guys of University of Vienna. So maybe I can explain you or give you a particular feature of these stakeholders, but I think that they are a simple list of possible stakeholders that can fund our idea, because it is an idea that can be implemented in every part of the world, because I think it's easy to implement, easy to construct, and easy to use. So it is just a simple list of stakeholders, but I think maybe there are a lot of stakeholders that can be interesting in our idea or can be founding it. So.
Thank you. There's a question from Valeria. She asked if you could please tell us a bit more on how you plan to engage citizens while developing your NBS.
Okay, so yes, I think that our nature-based solution is yes, it's a new idea of a nature-based solution. So I think that no one can consider this like a useful part that can be linked to the urban park. So, but I think that with the this kind of nature-based solution, we can create an healthy environment, because this structure is not directly related to a particular species, but it is useful for the species. So you can use a species from a lot of parts of the world, and you can use our nature-based solution just to promote the health. And in this way, having an healthy plant, you can answer to a lot of ecosystem services that we need for the city or for the a place in general. So I don't know if I have answer of the question.
Maria? You're muted, Maria.
Do you hear me now?
Yeah.
So first of all, thank you, Clara, for your presentation. And connected to what you were saying, I'm asking, in your mind, do you envision the use of these nature-based solutions together with other kinds of nature-based solutions? Because in the representation that you shown, we will see this into something that is similar to a park and to a woods. But I think that it could be more effective if you can also figure out a way to introduce it together with other solutions, maybe.
Yes, of course. Yeah. Yes, with the other nature-based solution, yes, it is a good idea, and even maybe it is possible to use it in other kind of space. So not only in the urban park, or maybe in another space, in another view, not like a jumping mushroom, but in another shape, but in the similar function. And of course, yes, we can connect it with another nature-based solution. I guess it's a good idea. Thanks.
Thank you, Clara.
Thank you very much. I thought that, Margherita, what do you think? We can move to the next group? Because I can see any other raised hands.
Yeah.
So thank you again. And
thank you, Clara.
It's the turn of group 3, Turon de Molsa.
Yeah, okay, so we are going to have 7 students here. Today, Cristina Danna is speaking from Unige. If any other students from the other institutions are currently connected, I'm not sure. Please feel free to add your contribution to the question and answer session later on. So I leave the ground to Cristina.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Cristina, you are freezed. We can hear you. I thought that she... Cristina? Good.
Okay.
Maybe, Cristina, you can switch off the camera so that you could have better connection.
Okay, but I think always the screen is okay. You can see it.
Not yet.
Yeah. Just one moment, sorry. Okay. Not working, just try it.
Maybe we can move to the next group and then you can have your pitch later.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. I try to hotspot.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we can move to the next group, which is Super 3. And we have 7 students from AIAC, VU, and Unige. And we have Anastasia Vidovic from AIAC pitching. So Anastasia, are you there? Great. We can't hear you yet.
No, we can't hear you.
but we can see you.
But we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
with a bit of a noise, but
Oh. Can
Maybe
you
the
see my-
volume is too high.
Is it better now?
A little bit better.
Great. So can you see my screen?
Yes. So please, you could start when you are ready. The floor is yours.
Great. I'll present you SUPER3 project. It addresses two climate change issues. It's risk of flooding and heat waves. In natural ecosystems, there is a solution for this, is trees. But the issue with trees is that they need time to grow, and if we're talking about already grown trees, we need to transport them and preserve root system. So the question of this work was how to take the functions and qualities of natural tree, but enhance them and make them as a product that can be fabricatable and easily implemented. Our site is Les Glorias Plaza, and we are focused on specific part of it. It's Gran Clariana a field. It's actually an open space that has several issues. One is that there is no shade, so people can't practice any activities there at hot time, and then so they can only use it in the evening because there are no trees and no shade. It was analyzed to comfort zones, and the solution was to use to make a canopy of artificial super trees based on the natural prototype of the natural canopy system of trees. It's designed inspired by a tree. It has the same part as a natural tree. It has a root system, it has a trunk, and it has the upper part. And if you have a closer look at the details of it, the upper part has solar panels. So this part will produce energy, also providing shade because of its shape. The trunk will be 3D printed and will be thus allowed to attract different species and improve microclimate around this area. And the root system, the underground part, will address the topic of flood risks, preventing flood risks. It has water management system. What is innovative about this project is that it uses, unlike other projects of SUPER3 that you might have seen, it combines different systems. It at the same time has a water management system and solar energy collection system. And if you look at some facts, one SUPER3 is equal to 8 mature trees, and it takes 1 month to produce it with 2 years of growth for the natural tree. And this is the prototype, and this is the actual look of the design. That's it.
Thank you very much, Anastasia. Any questions? I have a question on the scalability of your idea. How you will figure the future of this SUPER3 in the city?
Yes, we thought it will be suitable for implementing it in park areas, streets. So Since it's 3D printed, it can be scalable, but basically it's the size of a tree, so it mostly suitable for open areas like this one.
Thank you. Other questions? Also in Italian, and then we can translate. And what's the advantage of combining such different technologies as the ones you mentioned?
It makes it perform closer to what it does in nature, because we know that in nature tree has several functions. It provides shades, it is cohabited by different organisms and different species. It absorbs water, it transfers water, like participates in water cycle. So it's more universal system. And if as we know, everything is connected to everything in natural processes. So if we can combine it in one product, it's the best solution, because we can address different topics with same prototype.
Thank you very much. Other questions from the audience? I'm sorry, I have a last question. I'm very curious about the possible cost of your proposal, of your proposal ideas. How much it could cost a super tree? So if I were to buy your product, what's the difference between a normal real tree and the ones you propose to use? Advantages and disadvantages, if you could mention and explain a bit more on it.
Well, I think for this project we expected it to be implemented by like on the local government level, not for a like for a sale for some private purposes. Its advantage from natural tree is that, as we know, trees has root system, and when we transfer from place where it was grown into a place where we want to implement it, we need to preserve the root system. And when we have it, we can't really perform different like sports activities and others that can damage root system, because it can be used as a in this way. So when we have our system, it's mimicking natural, but we cannot damage it because it's not alive. As it's 3D printed, it can use like depending on the place where it's implemented, it can be 3D printed from different materials. So it's also an advantage because we don't need to transport them. And about the cost specifically, I think we had calculations from Vienna team, but I don't have them in our presentation, so I can't remember. But if someone, Anna or Naomi, are here, because they were making these calculations, maybe they can answer. Because I remember during the process, we had this in Miro board and our WhatsApp, but not in the presentation.
But if not, no worries. We can discuss this later on. And we have another questions from the audience, from Christina, that asks if you plan to involve people in the neighborhood in your project. So what's the engagement with local stakeholder, I would say?
Yes, so this area has like an office area. There are many business towers, and there is also residential area, and there are some schools nearby. So the people who are going to use this place are those who mostly like come there during the lunchtime, or like some residents. And from the personal experience, what I was seeing there were some people who are trying to participate, like some sport activities like dancing or Pilates, and some kids who were trying to play there with ball. But as I was saying, they cannot do it during the day or during the summer because they need to wait till it's more cool and when they have finally shade. So the way they will be involved is that we will provide this canopy and they will have a place where they can practice any type of activities they want to stay in an open space, but at the same time having shade.
Thank you very much. Well, I think are there any other questions? Because if not, yes. Okay, Christina is satisfied. If there are any other questions, I think, Margherita, that we can move on, going back to group 3.
All right, so Tourance de Molsa is group number 3, and Cristina Danna from Unige is presenting.
Yeah, hello again. I to share what is going. Okay, just I start this.
Okay, we can see your screen.
Okay, thank you. So
maybe you could switch to presentation mode.
It is escape.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so thank you. Sorry for the inconvenience. So, has it ever happened to you that you needed time for relaxation and you went to a park, but when you got there, the only free place that you can find was on the blazing sun right by the road, surrounded by traffic noise? This is quite a common problem, a common situation, even in one of the most well-designed parks in Barcelona, in Parc de las Glorias. The core of the park is La Clariana, which is a 1 hectare grassland situated in the middle of the park, used especially for peaceful activities. You can find there users from different ages, using the space at different time, especially as an open library for meditation, for exercise, and in general to interact with each other and with nature. And even if La Clariana is surrounded by different biodiversity nodes with varying vegetation density, the noise level still light with the surrounding traffic and other activities in the zone. And also due to the less canopy cover, the temperature of the heat is higher. And you can see that in this image that La Clariana is an open space so suitable for relaxing, but also one of the warmest and one of the noisiest in the park. And starting from the need to create a refreshing environment with refreshing shadows for relaxing, we propose a landscape intervention, creating acoustically comfortable pockets distributed into La Clariana, and we call them Tourance de Molsa Hills. So essentially, the nature-based solution proposal consists of the use of innovative panels. We have with dual functions. We have some poikilohydric surface made by material that favor the growth of mosses to create a natural sound insulation system. And on the other side of the structure, we have some flora-voltaic species that create a human environment for the growth of mosses below, and also it generates energy that can be applied for the illumination system of the structure. And in this sense, also Tourance de Molsa is a self-support system And integrated with the landscape looks very natural. We have natural sound, insulation material, flowers, refreshing areas, and also all the modules, all the panels can be combined in different shape, in different form, also based on the requirement of the site. And yeah, the idea is that there is a nature-based solution in the form of furniture within the park. And this furniture provides shade, absorb noise, and create a refreshing environment. And also Toronto Mossa is an invitation to slow down, reconnect with nature, and find a relief in the quiet beauty of mosses and flower. And yeah, it's perfect for sure for relaxing. So thank you for your attention. And thank you also to all the collaborators of the University of Genoa, of the IAC, and the WU University.
Thank you very much, Cristina. Any questions? Yes, Maria, please.
Yeah, just a request. I don't know if it was just a problem of my device, but I can't see the presentation on the slide during. I can hear her very well, but I just see a slide and then just the last. So if any other people had the same problem, I just requested to slide briefly the presentation again.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry for
to
the problem.
see, no, just for see your very beautiful presentation and not to lose
this was
anything.
The park situation, and then we have so focus on La Clariana, and then here a global view of the park with a focus of La Clariana as the noisiest and warmest area, and then the nature-based solution proposes to Toronto Mossa, and here are some specific slide.
Yeah, well, we can see your slideshow. We can only see the cover.
Perhaps if you exit the presentation mode, maybe we can see it.
Yeah, but also just to see. Yeah, now we are seeing the slide. I perfectly can follow your presentation because it was very clear. Just to see all the slides for all the people.
Yeah,
just also for voting.
You can now move on. For instance, just fastly.
Fastly. Sorry.
Check and slide your. Okay.
Yeah, like that.
Okay. And while you are sliding, I have a question. Because you mentioned that the system at some point is self-supported, right?
Yeah, maybe
in which sense is self-supported?
So yeah, maybe we have to think about a lot of things. Is a self-supported because we used two systems in the same project. So yeah, basically the first important thing is that we chose some species for the cover that are Heliophilus species, especially in the photovoltaic system, and that allowed us to have a low maintenance. I mean, they not need a lot of irrigation. They not need a lot of cost in the maintenance because we chose aromatic species, and also the photovoltaic create humid zones for the growth mosses, and for sure creating energy it gives to the system in self energy. So yeah, also in this sense, it could be considered as supported.
Thank you very much. Questions from the audience? You can also write in a chat or ask in Italian. And Cristina, sorry, what's the advantage of merging two different systems in the same structure? I remember that you mentioned the living walls and the fluorovoltaic system, right? Could you explain this a little bit in detail?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So yeah, the idea started from the use of masses of poikilohydric surface for creating a natural sound insulation system. We know that masses absorb sounds, so it was great to think about applying masses also in the urban context, also in park. But then when we discussed the idea, it was quite difficult to implement living walls with masses in the city, especially in Barcelona or in other Mediterranean area, because we know we have to face with strong solar irradiation and also scarcity of water. So we just thought that we needed a cover for the masses, and for this reason we just added a cover, but a cover that also give a plus in the project. I mean, the photovoltaic system produce energy, could produce energy that, yeah, we say that could be applied for the illumination of the structure also at night, but also can be for example, the energy can be applied for the power for giving power to our irrigation system within the photovoltaic systems. Yeah, so essentially we just combined these two systems, and also one other thing was that we wanted to put the poikilohydric surfaces in the outer sides, because we thought that in this case we had a better sound absorption. And so yeah, just the photovoltaic system was implemented as a cover and as a plus in the project.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I can see any other raised hands, so I think that we could finish this section. But before, thanks again, Cristina.
Thank you very much.
And there is a clarification on the previous presentation. Anastasia is writing that regarding Superfree project, the total cost of the structure would be 2,000 euros. Okay. Thank you for this clarification. I think that we are done for this first part of the session. So thank you very much for all the presenters and for all the ideas and projects shown. And I leave the floor to Margherita.
Okay, so, okay, thank you again. Especially thank you to all the students who have speak today. And now it's time for the audience to vote the project they like the most. So please, you can scan this QR code with your telephone and vote what was the best project for you. And then we're going to show the result live. So we are giving you a couple of minutes to scan the QR code and put the project in right order. If you need some refreshment, okay, group number 1 is Giving Nature a Voice. So the first group presented by Marta Pianta with the modular structure, including systems that are actually translating nature into a sound. Then we have Sustainability is About Now and the Future from Clara Conte, who presented the system of this kind of mushroom, say, that kind of inflates the air into the ground and make an healthy soil. Then we have Cristina Danna Turon de Molsa, which actually was the last group presenting, but is group number 3, so beware. And she just presented these structures to find some rest and peace in the in the garden. And then group number 4, Super Tree, which is this super tree, which is a man-made tree that allows to collect rainwater and solve water management issues, as well as using solar energy. I think that is now time for you to vote.
Okay, Margherita, I think that people stop voting. You can go on, of course. Maybe we could share the result.
Yeah, I can. You can share the result if you want.
Sure, because after a test result, now we have a winner, and the winner is Group 2. Sustainability is about now and the future. Dan Turon de Molsa, Giving Nature a Voice, and Super Free. Congratulations to all the group.
Okay, great. Congratulations again to all the groups presenting. Katia wants to say something?
Oh, okay. But again, congratulations to all the group. Really nice presentation. Congratulations to all.
Okay, so let's move on to the next session of our webinar. So now we are moving to the presentation of 3 MBS research projects, which were either developed by using funding from the European Union or using different fundings. And what I would like to highlight is that, of course, these kind of projects are projects that have been developed by huge research groups and using a lot of time and also funding. So of course there is a big difference between these kind of projects and the project that we showed before. But since the goal of this short-term program and also of the Green Skill for Cities is to disseminate nature-based solutions, education tools, and also research tools. It's very nice to create this sort of cross-dissemination. So here, very briefly, we are going to have this 7 minutes presentation of the EU-funded project Ecolops, which has a huge project consortium. The Technical University of Munich, of the Technische Universität Wien, Università di Genova, McNeil, Technion Israel Institute of Technology, and Studio Leimonet Design. And today is presenting Maria Canepa from UNIGE. And then we are going to have a very short Q&A session. So now I leave the ground to Maria Canepa from UNIGE. Let me stop sharing. Back.
Thank you, Margherita. Just a few minutes to share my presentation. Okay. So, do you see my screen? Okay, so today I'm here in a sort of a double role because I am a member, of course, of the Green Skill for Cities project and also in the Ecolops project that I am going to show you right now. So as Margherita said, this is a very important project that was funded by European Union in the frame of the Horizon 2020 Future Emerging Technology, and it will last for 4 years from the 2021 to the 2025. So Ecolops means ecological building envelopes. So we are concentrating on a different approach to the building envelopes. And as we have wrote here, is a game-changing design approach for a new regenerative urban ecosystems. So we are several partners from TUM, UNIGE, Tuvian, and Technion, Studio Leimonet Design, and McNeil, that is a software house that produces Rhino and Grasshopper. Now I've reported just some of the faces of our group. So as I said, we work also together with TISTAV. Here you will see the member of the Department of Architecture and Design. So myself, Katia Perini, that you already know, and also Margherita, and also Francesca Mosca, that is a PhD candidate. And her research is also partially focused on the Ecolops project. All started from some experience that we had all together also here in Genova during a symposium that was the Symposium Architecture and Environment. And during that time, we decided all together to somehow collect our experience to write down a new approach, a new project that take into account not just a perspective from human beings, but also not just a perspective from architects, but also involving other topics and other fields like ecological skills and also botanical skills and so on. To just point out very quickly the background where is moving our research, we can say that now we know that the majority of the world population are living in urban areas, and this is an increasing trend. And also, we should somehow design in a different way this new environment that is the city. So our city sometimes is lacking of the presence of greenery, but as we will see, we are not interested just into plants, but somehow we want to improve also the presence of other stakeholders. And this is not just something brand new. but it's something that we can find already in our heritage and in our experience, and also historical buildings, such as those examples that I'm showing right now. So we can somehow structure our envelope and our building to host other species, such as the birds, for examples. Or also we have some very well-known examples, such as the Mill-Owner Association building from Le Corbusier, where we have some unusual animals that are using the building, such as the human being, as we can see in these photos, such as apes. So what is happening now? So we can work on different levels. So we can work directly on our facade or on our buildings, but also we can improve the design of places and elements, such as this kind of really interesting beehive that is called the Vulcan beehive, that are designed by a very well-known studios such as Snoetta, that it's a kind of beehive that can be introduced on the top of our roof, to, in this case, the roof of Oslo, but also in other roof to host, for example, bees for producing honey. Other experienced, very trendy experience in that case, because this project is designed by big Bjarke Ingels architects. We have, for example, hotels that are studied to host not humans, but, for example, animals. So this is an hotel room with birds' nests. So we have at the same time a biosphere that can somehow host human, but at the same time be also a hostel for the birds. Or we can try to tend to design a greenery that is more, we can use this term such as a savage or poorly planned, like this example from War Architects, where we have a vegetation that is used to improve the well-being and the health of the citizens. Because actually, when we are trying to design a building envelope, we are really concentrated on the costs, of course, on the innovation, on the reliability that we have, the building form that we have and that we should cover with our envelope, but also, for example, or the norms that regards the thermal performances and the energy reduction, and also the life cycle cost approach, also in terms of environmental protection. But at the same time, we can take into account other components such as biodiversity, or in general, the comfort that is influenced by the air quality, the heat, so control somehow the urban heat island effect, and also the comfort that we can provide from the introducing some of the species that I have already mentioned. So if we want to summarize the current design approach, we can say that basically we starting always from a human perspective. So we based our design on the human needs, and we take in a little consideration the importance of biodiversity, and we can rarely account the ecosystem services provided by, for example, vegetations. Animals are rarely considered, and also a conservation approach, it's rare. The green infrastructure also maybe are planned, but when they are put into the building, somehow they are hardly managed, so we can have also problem in terms of maintenance. And then in general, we have this rigid division from the space for animals and the space for humans. So we consider a land of sparing and not a land of sharing. So we are not sharing our spaces with other species. Also, when we consider in general the way we use greenery in urban spaces, we can work on such as different scales. So we have the building scale, the district scale, and the urban scale. So when I use the term of building scale, I'm referring in general with green roofs and green facades that we know that already exist. Or we can work on discrete scale, considering tree line, avenue, flower beds, and so on. On urban scale, we have large areas such as parks. But in our Ecolops project, of course, we are starting from the envelope. So we are reasoning on a building scale with the idea to plant a seed that can spread and also regards a larger scale. So in our consideration, especially in the ecological consideration, we take it also into account the regional level. So we propose a data-driven design. So we consider a lot of data that we put in our computational workflow to assist architects and planners in design of Ecolops that will be a multi-species living spaces for 4 types of inhabitants. So we consider, of course, humans, but also plants, animals, and microbiota. So we are moving from a human-centered perspective to a non-human-centered perspective, where the human are a part of a larger ecosystems. And at the same time, we try to go further the division of the traditional, we can say, division that we have now from the current technologies, such as green roofs or green facades. Trying to move to an ecological envelope that can be a dynamic living space for all our 4 different stakeholders. And how we can do this? Because of course, as I said at the beginning, this is an interdisciplinary approach, and we couldn't just look at this approach just from an architectural perspective. So that's why we have scientists from physical science and engineering, life sciences and social sciences and humanities involved. And each partners can bring his skills to improve this interdisciplinary approach. So we have this chain and this circle that somehow try to connect the abiotic and biotic components, considering all the design processes, and try to understand how each stakeholder are connected to the others and which kind of relationships we can build, and also to select some of those specific requests that we have from each stakeholder perspective. So how Ecolops is organized? So Ecolops is organized in work packages, such as all the majority of the research project, and each work packages is dealt by one of the partner. So we have a WP3 group that is concentrated on the computational platform, and that is McNeil is in charge of it. Then we have a WP4 that is dedicated to the developing the ecological model and all the models that try to connect the abiotic environment and also animals and humans. Then we have a WP5 block that is dedicated to how stock all the information that I have in a model that we can defining, such as in a voxelizing model. We don't have the time to go more into deep of that, but it's a way to stock a large information that we can have in a certain point. And then, of course, we have the importance of the computational design that we'll test in some case studies, all the data that we have translating into a design cases. And then we have the last part that is in charge of our groups, that is the WP7 group, where we should validate all the design processes, also in terms of approach. And that's why now I'm, by the end, showing to you a design workflow approach, because we try to combine together the computational workflow that is really near the computational approach to the design and the data-driven design with a more traditional design workflow, adapting it to our new approach. So, for example, to put the role of the ecologist before the design starts, and not how generally is happening now, where we starting to design and then ask, for example, to the ecologists later or to the specialists later. So try to combine the expertise at the beginning and also to target it really well the design brief in accordance to the client. And the client is not just a human being, but the clients are all our stakeholders. Just for closing, short examples on how our computational workflow works together with Grasshopper and all the components that are developed by our partner McNeil, just to understand that we are trying to combine, of course, the environment models data to the shape and to the influence that the different key performance indicator that we selected can somehow affect our design. So to summary and to conclude, Ecolops is an interdisciplinary and innovative research activities and approach, and we try to promote an international networking and exchanges, and that's why also we collaborate with Green Skill for Cities, because it's important to capitalize and put together the different products of this research through different kind of approach. So in Green Skill for Cities, we are concentrating in nature-based solutions. Of course, in Ecolops, we are hosting several kind of nature-based solutions and also involve young researchers. So thank you for your attention, and I'm closing, and I prefer to leave sometimes for any questions.
Okay, thank you, Maria, very much for presenting. So if there is any question from the audience. So if not, I think that actually the presentation was really inspiring, and also she kind of summarized a lot of work in a nutshell. But actually, I think that it would be very nice to point out the connection between this project and the Green Skill for Cities project. So Maria mentioned that there is this cross-disciplinary interest, but I also would like to know more about how you think that this project relates to the educational part of the, not only about nature-based solution, of course, but I think there is some interest and also related to the educational perspective of Green Skill for Cities and Ecolops.
Yeah, I didn't mention that a lot of the work packages wants to involve directly the students and the experience of also the PhD students, of course, not just from the master students or the bachelor students, but we have some parts of testing and also of validation through the work of the students during the studio. So in architecture, we have this kind of studio that involves several students, and that lasts for from 3 to 6 months, while the students carry out a very complex project. In that case, they are somehow forced also to face themselves the Ecolops challenge and try to target their project, take into account several stakeholders, and also they are provided by some materials from other experts such as ecologists and so on, to integrate inside their processes some new perspective, or also maybe to target a specific design brief to guide their project. And also in the future, they also will actually test some of the workflow, so the workflow, the Ecolops workflow, but also tests somehow also the computational component. So that's really challenging, but really interesting, because the students are able to provide a lot of suggestions to the consortium, and at the same time they can be trained on these topics that are more interdisciplinary, and also allowed them to face all these topics from a larger view.
Great, thank you very much. I think now we don't have much time for other questions, but maybe we can move to the next session. So let me just share very quickly my screen. So the next project is Moskin, which was developed within the University of Genoa and founded by Compagnia di San Paolo and probably other. But I will leave the ground to Enrica Roccotiello from Unige, who will tell us more about this very interesting project, which is, by the way, also a patent. So very close to the topic of the Green Skill for City short-term program, Green Innovation Challenge.
Thank you, Margherita. Can you see my screen? Yes, no?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. I can see it. Okay, again, can you see my screen? Think so. Okay, so good afternoon, everybody. And thank you for being here. I am an environmental botanist from the University of Genoa, and I am specialized in nature-based solution. And the project that I briefly described to you, it was developed with my colleague Katia Perini from the Department of Architecture and Design and her team. And Moskin is our proposed innovation for building envelope concerning light building envelope with mosses that are a low cost and low maintenance technology for greening building envelope. As you probably know, urban ecosystems have to face several environmental problems like the well-known urban heat island effect and strong air pollution. And for this reason, the European community stressed the importance of employing nature-based solutions, enclosing green technologies that fit different building surfaces and inclination, going beyond the aesthetic value of their use. But in comparison with other plants used for green envelopes, mosses have several significant benefits. Linked to maintenance and lightness and adaptability, and they allow technological surprisingly solution like the possible setup of pre-vegetated panels ready to use. And in detail, there are several positive aspects that mosses can face in architecture. But there are also some restrictions linked to less impact because of their aesthetic values and their small thickness. So the ones that you can see here in the screen is our starting point. Our first patent, the national one. Here you can see the species, the moss species that we use, the materials, the layers, and the application. And this was our starting point, as I mentioned, because we start with a technology readiness level of 3. That means research to prove feasibility. And then we move forward because thanks to the economical support of the Links Foundation supported by Compagnia di San Paolo, we developed in 6 months and in the next years a new living material. Here you can see the different steps that we made in different indoor and outdoor experiments to obtain a better moss space and to evaluate moss performances under stressful conditions in terms of light, of wind and showers and so on. So what we did a first screening on moss species based on their ability, on their ecological requirements and or their ability to grow on different building surfaces. And we also evaluate the coverage and the hydration of mosses. And among substrate felt seemed to be the winner. So we moved to our idea to the idea of a flexible substrate. And we also assess the most growing capacity in terms of ability to cover a larger surface in a limited amount of time, because mosses are slow growers. And then we push ourselves to obtain a more scalable product. Here you can see the moss paste that can be used on a large scale and for different applications, like for instance, pre-vegetated panels. All these experiments were made to obtain and to evaluate the overall performance of the proposed system. So this step-by-step process drove us to TRL6, that means technology demonstration. And during this phase, we set a long list of indoor and outdoor experiments to test several substrates and mosses and combination of them to find the one that better suits the requirements of lightness, versatility, lower use of resources, and so on. And so, as you can see here in the picture, we did a lot of outdoor experiments to test, for instance, the ability to collect particulate matter, obtaining interesting results, as you can see here, where you can evaluate a large amount of fine and ultrafine dust collected by moss's surface. And what we are currently doing is trying to correlate the air quality with the amount of particles collected. And then we screen for the substrate materials, that is, as I mentioned before, a felt that is flexible, versatile, easy to hydrate substrate that is commonly used for thermal insulation of buildings. So we tested different type of felts, finding as a final choice this eco-compatible substrate made with natural and artificial fibers. So we tested the different configuration of panels and felts with and without mossing, evaluating also their hydrating capacity, especially their water holding capacity. We also evaluate this for performances for the weight of the panel proposed. And we also did some tests in greenhouse experiment and outdoor. Here you can see our prototype. And a first market survey, here you can see another prototype that we made, highlighted that all the construction issues present main constraints, and compare with the prototype and the system already present of the market, our proposed system cost much less, because it cost ranges around 16 euros per square meters, and is more versatile and cheaper respect of traditional or green envelope for building. And here you can see some possible covering options of our panel. The configuration tested will be able to be applied to building surface, each shape of building surface with different inclination and construction characteristics, and the panel can be customizable for a specific and different building shape. To conclude, compared to the already existing systems on the market, we would like to point out that our system is easier to manage because it does not require fertilizer in terms of management. It's highly resistant to environmental and anthropogenic stresses, because we selected species that are able to face the urban stress, and species do not require a high amount of water because they are able to survive to strong desiccation. And they have, as you have seen, a good ability to collect fine dust. And in the end, even if saturated with water, the overall panel weighs between 3 to 10 kilograms per square meters, depending on the configuration. I would like to conclude by saying that the project depicted is the result of more than 7 years of interdisciplinary collaboration among our groups. And together we have worked on several nature-based solutions, monitoring projects, And this allowed us to estimate performances and limitation and critical points of system on the market, considering the entire life cycle. Here, a link if you want to know more about our project. And I wish to thank you all for your attention, and I will be happy to answer your questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Enrica, for presenting this very interesting project. I think that maybe you can copy and paste the link of the video to the chat. And I'm asking the audience now if they do have any questions. And if not, I think that I think it will be very nice from the perspectives of the students that pitched today, if you could point out to them what is the main difference in the process you had. I mean, you mentioned that the project lasted 7 years, so of course it's 7 days and 7 years, it's different. But of course there is also some other differences within the process. So they started with the idea basically, and then they tried to make it sound, doing very quickly the state-of-the-art research. But I think that in reality, in real life research, it works a bit different. I would like you to just to highlight the main differences. Yeah, sure, and thanks very much for asking. Yes, as I mentioned, the overall work was more or less about 7 years. The project shown was that drove us to Moschin prototype, I would say, instead of product, was just did in 6 months, because it was a proof of concept, and proof of concept by Compagnia di San Paolo are very limited. But the key, the most important point, as you mentioned, is the key idea that we had and how we work on it. And our experience and our transdisciplinary approach help us in developing this. So the key point is having a good idea, I would say, studying a lot on the market, and then do an extensive literature and market review to understand what is the real state of the art and what's the novelty of your idea. And then you have to did a huge amount of experiment to test each point, each weak point, I would say, of your idea, to evaluate if it really works or not. And if not, you have to try it again and again and again. But if the idea works and it's really novelty, you have to complete and fulfill all the requirements by a transdisciplinary approach. In our case, the interdisciplinary and the transdisciplinary approach was the key element, but it takes time, surely takes time. And I would say that is quite necessary that you take the right amount of time to stress, to, for instance, performing stress tests and evaluating all the, in our case, we did a lot of experiment to evaluate the stress in terms of response to high and low temperature, to desiccation, to high level of water, low level of water, water holding capacity of the substrate, and so on. So each of the key elements should be strongly tested, because otherwise the market is terrible if you miss some of these points. So you must do experiment to be sure that what you are going to put on the market is really something completely different. Okay, great. Thank you. There's a question from the audience. Do you think, Enrica, that it would be necessary to select local moss species for different regions and latitudes in the world, or the species you selected have a sufficient adaptability? Okay, thank you very much for asking. In our case, I have just only shown 3 different species, but at least we started from 20, then we reached 15 that fulfill all the necessary requirements, and with a wide geographical range, so that they can be applicable in different parts of the world. Of course, a good approach would be selecting new species, but with the same approach. So
doesn't make sense using, for instance, native but very locally geographically distributed species. We need species that are wide range distributed, as in our case, so that they can be applicable in different parts of the world.
All right. Okay, any other question? Okay, so I think we can move to the next presentation, the last one of today. So talking to the audience, this is the last presentation and we're going to vote again, so please hold on. This is the EU-funded project Urban Shift, with again many partners, Vienna University of Economics and Business, Institute for Advanced Architecture of Catalonia, Stuttgart Media University, Stuttgart Hochschule der Medien, Wirtschaftskammer Österreich, Multicriteria SL, Terra Institute SRL, Green Innovation Group, AES, Pretty Ugly Duckling. And presenting we have Marie-Sophie Attems from Vienna University of Technology, who is a partner of the Green Skills for Cities project. So thank you very much, Marie-Sophie, for being willing to present this project, and leaving the ground to you.
Thank you for the introduction. I'll just share my screen with you. And there we go. So as Margherita already said, my name is Marie-Sophie Attems, and so welcome from Vienna University of Economics and Business. I will be talking about a different project, which is also a transdisciplinary educational program called Urban Shift. So that idea behind Urban Shift, which is an EU co-funded project, is to develop startups to tackle urban challenges and to create sort of a living ecosystem across Europe, and with the entire goal to actually drive the European Green Deal. And this project has different components. As I said, with the goal to have this living ecosystem, which is an iterative process, which starts with a training for trainers, where all partners involved and trainers involved create sort of a common understanding and knowledge of the subjects that we are working on. Then a main topic are the living labs that we have, which is actually the hands-on transdisciplinary startup education program. And then in the end, we have this living exhibition where the startup ideas are traveling across Europe and have the possibility to be showcased in different cities of Europe. And as I said, it's an iterative process. So we have 2 batches which follow this process. So we have actually a nice comparison of how this works. And looking at Green Skills for Cities, it's sort of a similar approach. However, we are focusing more on transdisciplinary startup education here. So the objectives of the project, as I already said, is that we bring together a set of very diverse expertise, which includes learners from vocational education and higher education institutes, but also trainers from, as I said, vet and higher education institutes, but also business partners. So it's a really transdisciplinary approach here. And as I said, we want to create regional impact networks, which in the end support the EU Green Deal. And also one very big results from the project is going to be a transferable startup curriculum for higher education institutes, but also for vocational education institutes, which can then, of course, use this curriculum further on in the future. And a very, very big goal of ours is, of course, to tackle different urban challenges, where we're focusing on the urban heat islands, food waste, extreme weather events, and mobility. And you're probably asking yourselves why this is in the context of nature-based solutions. But I think everyone who has worked in the field of nature-based solutions knows that for example, for urban heat islands or for extreme weather events, a lot of the solutions will be nature-based solutions. just to give you a short overview of who is actually involved, Margarita already named the consortium a little bit. For once, it's us, the Vienna University of Economics and Business, which brings in students and trainers from, let's say, business broadly. Then we have the Institute for Advanced Architecture of Catalonia in Barcelona, which brings in architecture and design students, so as in Green Skills for Cities, actually. Then we also have partners in Stuttgart, which bring students and trainers from media. And then we also have working professionals coming from WIFI in Vienna. And as I also mentioned, since it's a very transdisciplinary project approach, we also have business partners involved, which bring in diverse expertise of strategic planning and consultancy and other strategies, which are very, very important for innovation. So some of the outcomes of the project, which I can already share with you, is that we already had a train the trainers, where we also noticed we as trainers come from very diverse backgrounds, and we need to sort of create a common language between our disciplines as well. And we have to align on academic differences, also in timelines, and share our best practices to actually work with students later on. So we as trainers also come from architecture, from media, from business, from sustainability fields, but also we have lifelong learning on board of the trainers. Now, a second big part of the project was the Living Labs, which is basically a 6 months academic program in which transdisciplinary startups are created. We have 2 batches for the project. One is already done, which I will show you some results. And in each batch, we have 40 students working together. So it's 10 from each discipline, which is also a similar concept as in Green Skills for Cities. But the students are working on different urban challenges in each batch. So the first batch, which is already done, was working on urban heat islands and food waste. And the second batch, which is coming up now in autumn, is going to work on extreme weather events and mobility. And the idea is that the learners already sort of get bridging courses before they actually meet each other to already create a common language and a common knowledge base before they even start working together. And at the end, they are becoming these green ambassadors to drive their ideas further. Now here, some just short overview of the results that we have, where they started from team building to working in a group to creating their prototypes, and in the end, pitching their ideas in Barcelona after 6 months. And as I said, some of the solutions are also nature-based solutions tackling these urban challenges. One example is Climate Tile, which is a passive cooling solution, where we have this sort of a tailored plant selection for office conditions, so rather small scale solutions. But then we also have completely different solutions which don't necessarily refer to nature-based solutions, but also tackle these urban challenges. Just to show you a few examples here that the students have worked on. Yes, so I think we can sum up that the learnings of this program are also quite similar as in Green Skills for Cities, that this diverse professional experience and also the age gap in students can make collaboration difficult, but also the expectations of learners of different disciplines are very challenging because it's different throughout different educational programs. But what we saw is that these urban challenges that they could work on actually fostered their intellectual curiosity to develop sustainable solutions. And the students were also in this process actually empowered to step out of their own comfort zone and to kind of think and act beyond their disciplines because they had to, and they noticed that they had the strength of their different disciplines that they could draw upon, and everyone had a say in their group. And we also saw that this entrepreneurial journey can enable an out-of-the-box thinking and going beyond this theoretical space that you often have on at higher education institutes. So all in all, we have a lot of learnings going to the next batch, and yeah, and are very, very excited to see what new solutions are going to come up. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. This was it from my side, and then I will just stop sharing my screen.
Thank you very much, Marie-Sophie. That was very interesting. So I would like the audience to ask you something. But I have a curiosity. I mean, so the program is, of course, an educational program, but you mentioned the fact that you are developing some, that you're teaching on how to develop new startups, right? So I was thinking, do you think that it's possible that after the completion of one of these programs, a new real startup will be developed? Or can you see, I mean, you tried experience.
I mean, now, since the first batch is already done, we can see that there's 7 sort of startup ideas were created during this program. And we know, Fiona is somewhere in the audience, correct me if I'm wrong, 4 are really working intensely on their projects to go on. So we are hoping that they will manage to keep on working together and create a startup of their ideas. So they were quite successful with what they came up with, and from then on, it's their journey.
Wow, that sounds very interesting. I mean, I understand that they need to learn how to develop a startup, but if the final result is a real startup, I think it's super interesting. Yeah, thank you. I think, is there any other question from the audience or any comments or whatever? I think maybe they are tired, but so we are just moving to the voting session. So let me just share my screen again. And here is time for voting. So you can scan this QR code and we can give 2 minutes for the voting right now, and don't disconnect later because we are asking you to vote again the webinar. So just to keep you stay a bit longer, but it's just a couple of minutes left. We are done. Maybe 1 minute left, and then let's see the result.
Yeah, but I'm seeing the results and most of people have voted.
Great. Okay, so I'm gonna stop sharing.
Okay. I'm loading the final results, and then I will share with you. And the winner is here you have the results.
Wow. Very interesting. And yeah, thank you very much for you to listen to this presentation, to attend this presentation. Thank you again, all the partners to join, and thank you to the students who have pitched today. and to people from all the institutions who officially attended, not only the Ordine degli Architetti di Genova, but also people from Comune di Genova and all other people that officially attended this event. And now it's time for voting the webinar. So the very last vote, you can vote and disconnect. So that's not, you can leave after this. And thank you again very much for this. So there's not so much left for conclusions, but still I really would like to point out that this the aim of this presentation was to showcase the results of the short-term program and to compare it against other research projects going on nature-based solutions, and yeah, and also to present the Green Skill for Cities project. I think, yeah, that's it.
And we will be happy if you will join us on the 24th of November for our symposium on nature-based solution.
True.
In the framework of Green Skills for Cities.
This will be an in-place event, so in-person event in Genova.
We will, if you're interested, we will send you around all the necessary information to join us.
Okay, I think I'm gonna stop presenting and say goodbye to everybody. Thank you again very much for being here.
Thank you to all the participants. Have a great day.